So this is our first official second video on the Turtle Corner. And for this video, I kind of wanted to do an educational thing, maybe a 10-minute educational thing. So I kind of wanted to start with maybe the most obvious thing, and you guys can kind of build from here on what we want to do in the future with choosing the right turtle. So I think choosing the right turtle is sometimes an interesting subject because people are like, when you think of choosing the right turtle, what do you think? You think there's a turtle that fits everyone, but there's one that you have to choose. I mean, yes, there are over 300 species of Chelonian in the world. Don't know the exact number right now. It went from 297 to 327, so it's between there. But the point is there are a lot of them. 1/3 of the world's Chelonians are endangered. So 1/3 of them at least you're not going to be able to get, and then there are some laws on shipments and stuff. We'll go over that in the future. But, so, I just want to get this point across. I don't want this to sound like you cannot keep a turtle or tortoise. It's very doable. Anyone, I believe, can do it. Just, I want to say that there are some people, their turtles are not maybe the best pet that you could choose. I don't say that out of meanness. Don't choose a turtle. I encourage you to get one. They're fascinating creatures to watch, and they can be rewarding pets. But they won't be rewarding pets if you can't care for them. And I kind of want to go over how to care for them. So, the first and foremost thing in caring for a turtle or tortoise is you provide it. I think the 5 rules. I actually created a PowerPoint on this. The 5 rules are food, space. Obviously space falls into like tank mates and stuff like that. We'll go over that. And the third is the animal, of course. Your requirements are 4th, and then 5th is the lighting and the water quality. So those kind of fall into the same category. So I want to go over the first thing. The first thing in my eye is the first thing in that order, I think, is the species. So what species fits you? I will go over kind of a list of ones that are easier and ones that are harder species. So generally turtles are easier. Generally, not always. Generally turtles are easier just because they don't need the land that a tortoise may need. So tortoises are harder because they need land and hibernation, and some water turtles do need hibernation. We'll talk about that. But the beginning turtle is the slider. But the thing about the slider is I encourage you not to get it. And the main reason is I have sliders, so this sounds a little bit hypocrite, but I did not know this when I bought my slider, and now I can't really return him. But sliders are, if not the most, I would say the most, they're definitely the most sought after turtle in the pet trade, heavily exploited. But the problem is that they're so exploited that people get them not knowing how long they live. As of I think 2001, the oldest one was 41, and that's been changed. They had some spotted turtles reaching like 48, but that's definitely been changed. I'm willing to bet there's one that reached over 60 in the past decade. But so many people were buying these sliders that people couldn't care for them sometimes, and they couldn't provide them with a space. Because they can grow quite large. I've seen sliders that are exceeding a foot and almost a foot in length, and that requires a good that requires a big tank, 6 feet long. I'm gonna go. That's the smallest you can keep it at healthily. Pond is actually good for that size of a turtle, but. Some people release their sliders, and they release their sliders into creeks and ponds, and these sliders therefore are taking these diseases that maybe they would carry, and it wouldn't affect them, but it affects other creatures in the ponds they're released into, and they spread those diseases and can kill off creatures in those ponds. And we actually deal with right now, western pond turtles are getting pushed out of their native ranges because of these sliders. And it's not just there, it's in every state. I can guarantee you there are sliders everywhere. They're hardy turtles, they're easy to take care of. Just simple filter, basic clean, twice a week, once a week. Sand bottom, gravel bottom, whatever you want, a basking platform, UVB, and heat lamp. That's all you need for this turtle. But it's sad that they've been so heavily exploited, and in 1998 to 1997, the exploit numbers were in the billions, just to the U.S., so this species, that just gives you a magnitude of how many are being exploited right now, and that's pretty crazy. They're released everywhere. There are populations of them everywhere on Earth, except for Antarctica. And that's sad because their only native range is Midwest, Tennessee, Texas. That's where they're really only native to. So that just gives you a magnitude of how much they just struck. So that's beginning species. I encourage you not to get. Some other easier species that aren't as like common as the sliders are painted turtles. But they can be a little harder just because the subspecies, there are 4 of them, and some of them require hibernation and some of them do not, and some of them are cold tolerant, some of them are not. So it's based on what subspecies there are. It's not that hard to determine which one they are, but you need to know. Painted turtles, cooters. Cooters will be a little harder to get your hands on just because they don't sell them really. In the East, I've not seen many. Midwest, I've heard of them being sold. They're going to be a little harder too because they're a little more endangered. You'll see Florida red bellies will hardly ever go. Although I have had people come to me that have gotten Florida red bellies and can't identify them, and I've identified them, and it's surprising. A little fun fact: I call them in Vietnam. They actually call that turtle the flame turtle, which is interesting. I learned that based on a customer that came in to me. But cooters, painted turtles, sliders, map turtles, those are all easier ones to take care of. Now I'll kind of get into the, we got about 3 minutes left, but I'll get into the more intermediate ones. So this is kind of semi-aquatic turtles, box turtles, and this is interesting about box turtles. There are 11 species. I didn't count that right off the top of my head. There are 6 they're Carolinas. There are 2 Ornatas.